Hi, YouTube. I hope you're doing good. I'm doing pretty good, not too bad. I did a lot of soul searching last night within myself, and I was thinking about the difference between somebody that tells me up front about things that they do in their life that could possibly upset me, which would be my problem if I couldn't accept what the other person was doing, right? But, or the difference between somebody that would not tell you any of what, say, society would deem a fault or whatever, you know, that somebody, say, like if you knew somebody for 5 years and then all of a sudden you find out that things that they do, I mean, you couldn't possibly be a close friend with them because not of what they're doing, but because they tried to hide that from you to begin with. Do you see? Because I had that happen. And, but then running across somebody that's doing something that maybe I'm not into and telling me about it up front makes a world of difference. I was upset and I thought, well, but I'm more upset with myself because it's to, up to me whether to accept that or not. But just the honesty right up front made a world of difference. You know, it's like, okay, I'll give a radical example. Um, I was going to say if I told you I picked my nose and you could deal with it. But if I told you I smoked cigarettes and you could deal with it, that's okay. But what if I invited you over and you didn't know I smoked cigarettes and I wouldn't go smoke in another room or anything? I would just like light one up and choke you to death or, that type of thing. So it really does make a difference being straightforward with people right from the start. And I found that out last night. Well, I mean, I am anyway with people, but when I see that it's a virtue in somebody else, even if what they're doing isn't to my liking, you know, I have to respect the honesty that's honorable. I can humble myself to somebody like that big time. So if you see what I'm saying. So yeah, so I'm having somewhat of a better day. I was able to calm myself down just with logic and reason and self-examination with the whole thing. So which may not make a whole lot of sense. Um yeah. Anyway, I just thought I'd talk about that a little bit right now. Um I ran across this lady named Emmy, and she was out walking in the woods. Oh, she's got some kind of movement thing going on where um talking about earth resources and but today she had a live stream and I listened to it and the whole premise was like don't fear getting older. It's like, okay, well, I don't really want to listen to this because I'm not fearing it. I'm rather enjoying it in a lot of ways. So, yeah. I did think, I ran across, now this isn't pointed towards anybody, but I thought a lot of like jealousy and different things that people might go through in their younger years would have dissipated somewhat when I got older, and then I started running across younger people that didn't just hate me because I was older, but they were jealous because I had things that they hadn't acquired yet, you know, and maybe for some other reasons too. But I really thought that part was going to sort of, I don't know why I thought that, because even with me when I was younger, oh, for a while, and I worked in retirement homes even when I was a little kid. Our campfire group would go in and sing to the elderly and read to them. And then when my adopted mom got cancer, is when I went into nursing school because I wanted to learn more about how to take care of people. Because she was the second person in that family that I um, had to deal with that type of thing in my life, taking care of them and whatever. And so I wanted to learn more about it. In the meantime, I ended up going into being a physical therapist aide. Well, they didn't call me an aide. I was their technician back in them days. So, but learning more about, you know, people's pressure points. Spock, no, but you know what I mean anyway. Um, Making sure rigor mortis didn't set in before they were actually in the grave, you know, that type of thing. So if they had injuries or whatever, so but and then progressed into working in a hospital and a couple different hospitals and couple other retirement homes and yeah, I don't know. I did somewhat get sick of it, but I mean, I wasn't so angry, I guess, with the older generation as I was disappointed in the ones that were my age. And from the 60s into the 80s was real difficult. Not just 60s, I was still, really little, but I mean into the 70s and 80s, getting out in the world on my own and that type of thing. Um, Other people my age just seemed like, let's just say their type of, say like if it were a party, their idea of what a party was and my idea was different. you know, I don't know. Maybe some of you understand what I'm saying. Mine wasn't quite like, I wasn't worried about presenting a table, set with your salad fork just right and whatever, which I do know all that anyway, but I mean, I wasn't worried about presentation. I was worried about the fun factor. So you either had slobs that were just partying or the zoots that really didn't even know. None of them really knew what a real party was in my mind, you know. So even if I tried to make things a little more dignified, it was a big fail in upper society or middle class or the poor or whatever. It was just, I don't know. No, now I can go back. I had a friend down in Phoenix, and we would get together every Thursday, um, and we'd have chow mein together, usually chicken, chow mein on rice with a few noodles. And so it was just our thing, you know. My kids were pretty little. They would have some, but not a bunch, you know. But that was our thing. So I guess, you know, and we were poor, you know. It's just like that was our, instead of going out and doing something, that was our great entertainment, you know. Or we'd wait till night and go to the store, either walk or drive. She didn't have a car, so sometimes I'd borrow my van and to get their laundry done and shopping and whatever. But sometimes a few of us girls in the neighborhood would just walk to the store way late at night. Two things, because I had kids, they were sleeping, depending on the hours when I was working, and also to avoid the heat. It's like when I lived on the northwest side of Phoenix in Glendale, um, walking home at night from the hospital was nice because, you know, avoiding the heat. So, so I liked those hours. I didn't like it that my kids were in bed when I got home, but I did spend all day with them and barely would sleep just to try and keep an eye on them because I had to put knives in the doors a few times in my life, but um, just to keep the little one from being able to go outside because he was like not a total escape artist, but one time he got out on me when I was cleaning the tub. I told him, okay, your clothes are laid out for you, you know, go put them on. They're little guys. And I get done cleaning the tub, look in the bedroom, little kid's not there. Asked his brother, where's John? He's like, I don't know, he went that way. So I went out and the door was open. This was all within about a minute. It literally. And so no clothes on. And my landlord, this older dude, just happened to be outside. I was really thankful. We were living in these apartments that were sort of well, they go in rows, and they were like the front one, and I was a front one with the sidewalk in between us. So luckily, when John came out, this guy saw him, and here he is bringing him back, holding his hand, and it's little naked boy and this old man, and I'm like, oh God. So after that, when they were in the tub, I'd put butter knives in the door frame. So he got the chain off and the deadbolt. This is I don't know if he was even 3. You know, that freaked me out. That's another time in my life before I had kids that a neighbor lady had her little boy was about just 18 months old maybe, lived across from me, and he was running up the hill naked. Same type of deal, or a diaper on. I think he had a diaper on, but like barely anything. And I'm thinking, why wasn't the mother watching this kid? Because the highway was on top of the hill, you know. I mean, we were out in Montana, so chances are that there might not even been a car, you know. But I did go out and get him, and I sort of was looking down on her, you know, like you weren't watching your kid, you know. And then the same thing happened to me later, you know. So yeah, I learned my lesson, especially about kids being escape artists, you know. That same kid, oh, no, I'm not gonna, that's too bad. I can't tell you. I'm not gonna sit here and diss on him, but yeah. Oh, he's a real wild one. Both my sons are. They were very much little gentlemen when they were little, when I had some kind of influence on them. You know, that's the way I'd raised them. They'd walk up and shake people's hands and introduce themselves or ask the people who they were, or, you know, intelligent and personable until the world gets our kids, you know. What do we do? They're going to be going through things no matter what. But for a mom, it's still a trip no matter what. I mean, yeah. Whether you have the ability to raise a gentleman or a lady in this world, that's, wow, good luck, really. I'm not saying I always act ladylike. If you know me, you know that I actually am a real lady, but that monster's in me, you know. I'm part of that and I'm part of not that. So that's who we are. And for people to actually not genuinely have an understanding of that, I mean, that makes them look so fake, you know. Have you ever met like these people? They're acting like, oh, they're all sunshiny and nothing's ever bad, and or all the bad stuff is a lesson regardless. And yes and no, you know? There's things that people plan, devious things, horrific things that people plan to do to you or I or somebody else. And they're uncalled for. They're things that um, they don't have to do it to somebody else. If people are going to be um, doing things that are horrible in other people's lives, you know, why don't all these people that do horrible things just do them to each other? Why do they go after the innocent? You know, that's the only thing. That's the only beef I have. If you want to be like an animal or a monster and say, like, if you know somebody that's quick tempered and prides theirself in fighting or whatever, and we've all ran across those types. But I mean, when you're volatile, you know, when you're around people that are volatile, um, and they pride themselves in it, they should only be with each other, you know. But they only act that way around people that they suppose that they could probably control with that force, you know. Excuse me. So, yeah. Then, too, these people in particular that I'm talking about, those type, if they're psychotic, they have the attitude, say like they're a thief, but you let them into your house, but you say to them, if you take anything from me, like you did before, I'm not gonna just sit back and let you do it without any problems, you know? So they'll use that for an excuse. I'm just saying I've had this type of thing happen. Use it for an excuse that if you think this is how their brain works, some people, oh, you thought I was a thief? Now I'm going to be one because you thought I was. Whether they had been in the past or whatever. The same with like people's tempers that I've ran across, you know. Uh, One time I was getting beat up and I heard how good I was. You're so fucking good. Pound, pound, pound. Yeah. And I said, yeah, I am. And I'm like, is that all you got? As my cheeks like freaking broken and, you know, eardrums and yeah. But I won't back down. If I'm not going to fight, my mouth is going to be active. But then after a while, it's like, well, I'm going to fight now. I'm going to take all the things that people did to me, and if they try and put hands on me again, I'm going to take all of them and do that to them, you know? So if you're watching me, anybody that's hurt me in the past, try that again. And I'm going to add them all up and I'm going to do it all at once to you. Because I do know I have people in my life that want me gone in a big way. And they've tried. I don't usually start fights, but one time I did. I had somebody, a big guy, interfering with my family, my personal family, my children, my spouse. And I went up to him, I'm like looking up to him and yelling at him, you know, like I will fuck you up. And yeah, I was young, but so sometimes I actually do start fights, but that's a rarity, and most of it was in before I was an adult. But I have had a couple times in my life as an adult that I won't say I took matters into my own hands, but I would equalize the situation or by mode of protection for other people, I'd insert myself in an environment that I maybe typically wouldn't be and act forceful because they needed that. Just kind of hoping somebody might jump up, you know, that type of feeling. But it didn't happen. So that's why I know I have a guardian, you know, times. Oh, anyway, I've been in some weird situations in my life. Times that I never thought, like, you wouldn't think people with, say if they've got a, oh, just a minute, I'll get there. Say if they've got like a tuxedo on, you wouldn't think that they would go all animal or be weird or but that's not the case in our world. You know, these people, whether they have expensive clothes on or whatever, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're backed by integrity, you know, with all their um, societal expectations for the world to see. What it looks like behind the scenes isn't always what we think, you know. So, did you know? I'll tell you, like, being, I've detailed cars before, and Doug working in a body shop, say if he was painting or did the body work or whatever, but we both detailed the most porn you ever find in anybody's vehicle is a preacher. I'm serious. There's a joke like, if the over in Mora, there's a town not far from me, um, about 20 miles. I heard a joke. Somebody said, might have been at a bar. I don't know. But quite some time ago, it was like, um, this is how stupid the, like, the Baptists put their whiskey bottle on the bottom of the garbage. The Lutherans put their whiskey bottle in the middle, and the um, Catholics put it on top. So when the garbage is emptied out, the Baptist exposed itself, to what they're doing. That type of joke, anyway. It was a joke. I can't remember how it actually, I think that's the premise of it anyway. Just kind of funny. But that's how people operate, especially the ones that think that they can just be forgiven of something stupid because some guy with a collar on is going to tell them that they're forgiven because they're a servant of God and God's personification on this planet. That really gets me. It's like the Pope. I make jokes like there should be soap, a Pope on a rope, soap, and some other jokes like that. If you're Catholic, whatever. I was raised Lutheran, but went to a Catholic girls' school some of my life and um, spent time in the Catholic Church reciting my Latin and all that, singing in Latin and reading it. And then I took 2 years of Spanish, and it's very close. It's a very close relative of the Latino languages. So, yeah. Then both my sons took that too. My youngest took American Sign Language. So did I. I was hoping that he'd do that for a living because they make good money teaching that or working in classrooms. I have a friend there, her daughter does that for a living, um, is a teacher for American Sign Language with deaf and mute children. You know, that would be a cool job. Yeah. I saw, I shared a song that was a little girl, her brother, she was like 18 and her brother was about 7 years old. And they were told this little boy would never talk or anything. Um, Looked like he had some kind of autism, perhaps Down syndrome of some sort. But it was on, I think, England's, what is that, like America's Got Talent. Yeah, England's or UK's Got Talent, maybe one of them. So anyway, she taught him how to sign, and he ended up actually even not only learning sign language, but he was able to speak. And so they had a whole group of kids of all ages and colors come out, and they sang this song and signed it for everybody out in the audience. And that just, whoa, that got me because I've known people that couldn't see or hear, and I always wished that they could like either feel or hear the music or be a part of that somehow. So yeah, that was cool to see. Am I a little whiny today? Little bit. I'm a little emotional. it's it's that time of year. And then too, my oldest son was born the day before Christmas, and not my youngest, my oldest, sorry, and my youngest one 2 weeks after that, you know, 4 years apart, but well, 3 a month and 2 weeks, I think is what it is, or 3 years and 2 weeks is what it is, yeah. So December and January, both Capricorns. So yeah, it's not only the holidays, but yeah, that too. I used to just because their birthdays were so close and they were going through a lot of emotional things, but um not just for Christmas, so the older one wouldn't feel weird, everybody else getting presents and whatever. A lot of times, December and January, I just make a bunch of party days for them for their birthdays and, you know, like 3-day birthday type of things. So, and they needed that in their way. Instead of maybe opening everything up on Christmas Day or something, like, or Christmas Eve, usually like something for Christmas Eve for the little one, also being Luke's birthday, but then Christmas, and then the next day for Luke, it was still Luke's birthday. And then when John's birthday came, we'd have like 3-day birthday type of thing. Try to make it special every year, kind of for them in that way. I'll just be honest, I love parties, you know, balloons and everything, you know. Not as much. I mean, I'm not going to do it. It's like I have all kinds of Christmas stuff I've put in boxes and haven't even touched it for a long time. But the neighbors, they have their house all lit up, and we have one down at the end of the road going north. They light up their whole yard. It's so beautiful, like on their barn, their house, their garage, their shop. The whole thing. It's so pretty. And then the road's like a tunnel. Well, it's called Tunnel Road. So with the different neighbors, there's like 6 of them. When they light up their houses, it is really pretty. So, well, I just wanted to get this out there. I know I think I have a friend that I might have underestimated, and I don't want to do that to anybody. That's not a righteous thing, and when I do that, I want to make sure that I've thought it out thoroughly, so I'm not treating somebody unkindly and unjust. You know, that's a really big. Honesty is the biggest thing to me. So yeah. Okay, everybody. Have a really good night or day wherever you're at. Peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA. Oops, and then my mouse is running out of juice.